Welcome. This is the wisdom of the Avadhut Gita. Ramana Maharshi was widely regarded to exemplify its teachings. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself. This is Richard Clarke. Today I'll read from and comment on Chapter 2 of the Avadhut Gita, verses 13 and 14, about becoming Brahman, and I'll provide an inquiry for each verse to deepen your experience. Verse 13, ever practicing yoga, not depending on any object, the yogi merges his consciousness in Brahman and becomes Brahman. Verse 14, there is but one antidote to the poison of highly dangerous passions which beget infatuation, and that is to return to the state of Atman. Atman is unapproachable by the emotions, is ever formless and independent. My comments. Let's explore these verses from the Avadhut Gita in the context of Ramana Maharshi's teachings. I'll explain each verse and give you a corresponding self-inquiry. Verse 13, ever practicing yoga, not dependent on any object, the yogi merges his consciousness in Brahman and becomes Brahman. This verse underscores merging your consciousness with the ultimate reality, Brahman. This verse underscores merging your consciousness with the ultimate reality, Brahman, the vast absolute, through continuous and unwavering practice of yoga, spiritual practice. The focus is on going beyond the dependence on external objects and knowing your identity as the infinite and formless Brahman. In the context of this verse, ever practicing yoga refers to a continuous and dedicated engagement with spiritual practices, particularly self-inquiry. Maharshi taught self-inquiry so that you constantly investigate, who am I, to pierce through the layers of the ego idea and directly experience your true self. He instructs you to trace the I thought, to see where it comes from. Not depending on any object emphasizes the need for detachment from external objects and sensory experiences. Ramana Maharshi advocated a state of vairagra, detachment, where you turn your attention inward and disengage from the transient and illusory nature of the external world. This detachment is letting go of what you like in favor of what you love. The central theme in this verse is the merging of consciousness in Brahman as Brahman, the ultimate reality. Ramana Maharshi tells us that the ego or individual self is an illusion, and the ultimate goal of spiritual practice is to realize one's identity with the all-encompassing Brahman. We must discover this for ourselves. To discover it, we must remove ignorance. Thus, we investigate our ideas of identity. So inquire, is there a moment where I have experienced a sense of merging or unity with something greater than myself? How can I deepen this experience? Verse 14. There is but one antidote to the poison of highly dangerous passions which beget infatuation, and that is to return to the state of Atman. Atman is unapproachable by the emotions, is ever formless and independent. This verse highlights the idea that intense and harmful passions lead to infatuation and suffering. The solution to counter these emotional disturbances is to turn within, to direct your attention inward and recognize the unchanging state of Atman, the true self that is always present. This resonates with Ramana Maharshi's teachings on self-inquiry, detachment, and the nature of the self. Ramana's core teaching revolves around self-inquiry, where you continuously question, who am I, to directly experience your true nature beyond the limitations of the ego and the flow of passions and emotions. This emphasis on returning to the state of Atman aligns with Ramana's teachings, where he instructs, go back the way you came, to inquire as the means to disidentify from the egoic mind and recognize and realize the unchanging presence of the self. Maharshi emphasized detachment from worldly attachments and emotions. The mention of Atman being unapproachable by the emotions echoes this idea that the true self remains unaffected by the fluctuations of mind and emotions. The verse describes Atman as ever formless and independent, with a nature beyond the limitations of form and external influences. Atman and Brahman are the same, not two similar things, but one and the same. This verse from the Avadhut Gita aligns with Ramana Maharshi's teachings on self-inquiry, detachment, and the nature of the true self. Both emphasize turning inward, detaching from passions, and realizing the unchanging and formless nature of Atman. This verse encapsulates the essence of these teachings and provides guidance for you on your journey of self-realization. So inquire, can I identify moments when I've felt a sense of inner calm and detachment from emotions? How can I cultivate this state? These self-inquiries are meant to encourage deep contemplation, reflection, and introspection. Ramana Maharshi's teachings emphasize the direct experience of your true nature, and these inquiries can help guide you towards that direct knowledge. Through self-inquiry and sincere self-investigation, you can move beyond intellectual understanding and tap into the direct realization of your inherent divinity and unity with the ultimate reality. So, inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this Ramana Maharshi video, subscribe, like, and send me a comment.